Hello again, walking fans. Andy and I setting out on the 40th walk out of the 54 it took us to complete the mighty southwest coast path. It was the spring equinox today, on Monday, our second consecutive day of walking, and we had to hang around a little bit at Salcombe. Pretty pleasant place to wait because we'd missed the first ferry. A bit of an oversight as we'd waited initially at the wrong jetty. Anyway, in good time we were aboard and crossed the Kingsbridge estuary. We were stewarded by a very nice young ferryman, a local lad, who told us a lot about the housing issues affecting this part of South Devon, and he also steered his craft cunningly close to a much modified but very recognisable landing craft. In fact, the LCM Mark III Marine. Exactly the same beast that my dad coxswained on June the 6th, 1944, D-Day, landing troops from the 24th Hampshire Infantry Regiment on Gold Beach. It was a splendid start to the day. Soon we were at East Portalmouth and heading south down the estuary for some rugged cliff walking that would take us all the way around to Slapton Sands.
Well, marvellous start, walking fans, to our Salcombe to Slapton Sands, or Slapton Shingle as it should probably be called, day. We've just crossed the Kingsbridge estuary at Salcombe and saw again the landing craft Marine Mark III that I saw on Plymouth Sound less than 2 weeks ago on manoeuvres. It's the same one, very distinctive. There can't be that many of them around these days. So I'm heading uphill, so I might start puffing a bit. So Andy's forged on ahead after I dropped all my maps. I'm really looking forward to a magnificent day's walking. We're leaving the bourgeois charms of Salcombe. 8 out of 10 properties in Salcombe are not owned by locals. It's a disgrace. And where we were yesterday, the ferryman told us that at Inner and Outer Hope, it is 87% of all properties are owned by non-locals. So we're getting away from that dark side of capitalism and the free market and all the rest of it. We're getting away from that onto some rugged coastal cliff walking with the big headlands of Prawl Point and Start Point. And then a knackering walk along the shingle at Slapton just to finish us off for the day.
We climbed gently up the cliffs with a view down across the estuary and soon came upon one of those poignant memorials, this time to a lifeboat crew that were lost in 1916 down beneath where we are walking right now. Treacherous waters known as the Salcombe Bar. The estuary shallows and the waves and the currents meet in a toxic combination. And on one terrible night, all 13 crew in this lifeboat, powered by no more than muscle power. There was no engines back in that time. And sadly, the crew perished. We reflected upon this for a short while and walked onto some very handsome, rugged and wild cliff scenery. Well, as you can see, Andy's enjoying the view as we luncheon just below the lookout station at Prawl Point, and we're tucked behind this rather nice fence of hornblende schist slabs that rather reminiscent of gravestones, to be honest. Beautiful drop down to the sea, and we're looking across to Bolt Head, which we rounded yesterday, and a bit indistinct at the moment, and as always it's just a delight. We've had today, for the first time on this trip, 2 really good interactions with fellow walkers. One couple and one solitary woman, all very pleasant and encouraging and enjoying the peace and quiet which Andy reminds me I keep shattering. Soon we rounded Prawl Point and started heading northeast around the western side of Salcombe Bay. We walked along a magnificent raised shore platform, beach deposits probably beneath the meadow. To our left, a splendid line of raised cliffs, a perfect example of the impact of sea level change on the South Devon coast. I enjoyed this stretch very much indeed.
Afternoon walking fans, we're deep into our walk from Salcombe to Slapton, and we're just going round the absolutely magnificent and beautiful start point. The sky is blue, it's mid-March, and I was just going to say completely unsported, nobody around, and two people suddenly appear, and the start point lighthouse. How magnificent is that? Well, it's late on in our walk from Salcombe to Slapton Sands. Slapton Sands is now a couple of miles away, getting ever closer, but we're just approaching Hall Sands, which is down below me. It's the ruined fishing village from the actually finally ruined completely or destroyed by the sea during the First World War. Lovely little fishing village. But, in their lack of wisdom about the way the coast works, the authorities building the big shipyard, Devonport, Plymouth, decided to take the aggregate they needed from the beach immediately in front of Hall Sands village, and once they'd removed it, there was no going back because the sea was able to attack the shore with an increased ferocity, and it wasn't dampened or buffered by the effect of the shingle, and gradually the cliff was undermined and houses and cottages started to topple into the sea, and the small village of 100 or so inhabitants was finally abandoned in, I think, 1917. So it's an object lesson in coastal management. Well, late in the day again, or still, and we're descending down to B Sands, which as you can see has got some prodigious sea defences protecting a pretty small community. Last ditch defences. There's a wall, hard wall, and considerable tonnage of very large boulders which extend beyond the main part of the terrace of cottages facing the force of the English Channel here. It's a southerly storm that gets them apparently. We've got one more headland to do, which is just ahead, and then down to Tor Cross and stroll along Slapton Sands. Job done. Tough walk today, but fantastic. 5:15. Little way to go now, no more than a mile tops. Approaching or descending down to Tor Cross. Then a walk along Slapton Sands to the car. Bit of a drive over to Salcombe to pick up my car and then back home. Andy predicted hours ago that we might get this job done by about 5:45. I don't think it's going to be far out. Been a hard physical day today, not huge climbs, but a lot of rough track to go over, a lot of boulders, craggy bits. Can't go very fast. Some nice cliff drops, and really magnificent coastal walking at its finest, and pretty much perfect walking conditions. Blue sky, blue sea, bit misty all day long. Never really shifted, so the visibility not great. Not as clear as you'd like it to be for photographic and video purposes, but glorious to walk in. Quite a chill in the air now, but I keep having to remind myself it is March. What do you expect? Another hour or so of a bit more perhaps of daylight. We're on the vernal equinox, which is brilliant, and I can highly recommend for a good walk and a ferry trip Salcombe through to Prawl Point, on to Start Point and the magnificent lighthouse, and then from there Hall Sands, B Sands, Torcross, and finishing on the historic Slapton Sands. This is the Sherman tank at one of the memorials for Operation Tiger, I think, and it's kind of appropriate at the setting of the sun. The famous Lawrence Binyon poem commemorating the fallen. So this is the Torcross Sherman DD tank, and you've got a roll of honour on there of people who are known to have tragically lost their lives during exercise Tiger, full dress rehearsal. So lots of information on the display board, rather sombre memorials, which is appropriate, rather like that one there, the dark, presumably brass. It's a more garish one to the right, and poppy wreath. It's the Operation Tiger memorial. A little bit more info around here on a piece of probably dark or a Bodmin granite. And another one with another piece of granite. So rather impressive reclaimed tank, covered in thick white protective paint now. Nice if a flag had been flying, a couple of flags, but a super spot, a tragic story, part of our history. Too many people still obsessed with it for the wrong reasons, remember it for the right reasons. The sacrifice that ordinary people made for ultimately silly old men.